I'm Kippy, the Academic Stitcher. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching and thank you for coming back. And if there's anyone new watching, thanks for stopping by. I hope you find something that inspires you, that maybe you want to stitch yourself, or maybe something will spawn a new idea. I think that's really what Flosstube is all about, friendships and inspiration. I wanted to start this Flosstube with a couple of questions that I got on the last Flosstube that I posted, and then one on the Quilty Tube that I posted because it was kind of a general question. So first of all, Cynthia Brew from Stitching in the Light asked if I remembered what color of RIT dye that I used when I dyed my cobblestone Lugana, which I'll show you in just a minute. And Cynthia, I'm not positive, but I think it was taupe. And I did not dye it for a long time. I left it in for maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, not very long. And the thing is, I have found, it works for me with RIT dye. If it's something new that I'm doing, which that was at that time, dyeing an already dark fabric with a different color RIT dye, the fabric was very flat. The color was very flat, and I just wanted to add some texture to it. So I can do it once, and if it's not dark enough, then I can do it again. So I'm really experimental with my dyeing. I would hate for anybody to do it the way I do it and then ruin their fabric. I haven't ruined anything yet because my philosophy is, if it turns out terrible, I can dye it chalkboard black and I can use it for something. So I'm not afraid to experiment with stuff, maybe more than I should. I know you're supposed to do a test piece and all that kind of stuff. I don't do that, not usually, unless it's I have one single piece that I want to dye. So Cynthia, I think it was taupe. I've worked with it quite a bit the last couple of days, and just looking at it and having it right in front of me and seeing it several nights in a row, I'm pretty sure it was taupe. If it wasn't taupe, it was camel, but I'm almost positive it was taupe. So thanks for that question, Cynthia. Vicky Finney asked if I coffee tea dye my fabric. I do some. I do not do all of my fabric. And I know Priscilla and Chelsea, even when they RIT dye, then they go back and coffee tea dye. I have not done that specifically. I have coffee tea dyed and I have RIT dyed, but I haven't done them both on the same fabric. Not that I remember. It's been a while since I did any dyeing, but I think that that would be, those are really two separate things for me. I don't remember doing two of them on the same piece. And I have had, and Vicki said that she tried it. She asked if I bake it, and she said she tried it and wasn't happy with the results. I have had a couple of pieces that I have coffee tea dyed and then baked, and I have baked all of them that I've done, where edges really turned really dark, almost burned. And anything that was actually touching the pan itself, so I've had a few places come in that were really, really dark. So that would be something that you just kind of have to watch. I also have some silicone baking sheets, and I'm going to try that next time instead of a metal baking sheet to see what the difference is, if there's any difference. But I think because the places where I've had, along the edge, I don't worry too much about, because that's not going to show. But when it's more in the middle of the piece where it might show up on something I'm stitching, I don't really want a burned place. That would not be good. So I'm curious to find out if the silicone prevents that, using either a silicone baking, just the sheet that you can lay down on your regular baking sheet. But I don't have any of those, but I do have baking sheets that are silicone, that cookie sheets that are silicone. So we'll see. Okay, the next thing I'd like to do is show you a couple of previous finishes that I have. And the first one, I am embarrassed to say I cannot find the ribbon that goes with it. It's in another fall box, and I haven't opened that box yet. I haven't got all my fall decor out yet because it's August. So I must have put the ribbon in one of the pumpkins and maybe Halloween box or something. So I can't find the ribbon, but it does have one, and I really it needs it. But this is the Harvest Chockful by Priscilla and Chelsea. I have all of my sunflowers and bees out right now, and this one is, of course, one of my favorites. I love the way they did the jars, where it looks like the jar is glass because of the fact that you're using one strand of floss instead of two. So I love the way this turned out. I am going to do Sunflower September with Fat Quarter Shop, and I've already gotten some of Priscilla and Chelsea's sunflower patterns or charts that I'll be doing. Not really sure which ones yet, and there are some other sunflower charts that I think would be fun to do as well. So I don't have a plan. I love watching Kimberly because she is so she has everything planned out. That is so not me. I fly by the seat of my pants on a lot of things, and stitching is one of them. I think it's really awesome to have different days where you stitch a specific type of chart, like Halloween or Christmas or fall or whatever, and do that every day. That is so far beyond me. I just stitch whatever I feel like stitching on that particular day. But I am going to stitch in. I said all that to say, Kimberly has everything laid out what she's going to be stitching in Sunflower September, on which specific days. I will stitch Sunflower September, but I don't know what I'm going to be stitching on any given day. I will be stitching whatever floats my boat on that day. So, and here's a question for you. Are you a schedule stitcher, or are you a fly by the seat of your pants stitcher like me? And I'm not just that way of stitching, just FYI. So anyway, looking forward to that. But this is the one sunflower stitch that I have out right now, and I was going to show you. You can probably see, I used batting on this one. This is one of the very first pieces that I finished using Priscilla's style, and I love it. And so I don't think I know I haven't had a single thing framed, definitely not professionally framed, since I started stitching again several years ago. But this is one of the first ones that I did where I finished it with sticky board and all. It's really, I'm almost positive, other than maybe some Christmas ornaments, the only one that I used batting on. The others that I'm going to show you today, I did not use batting on. I like it okay, but I really think I prefer it without the batting. So either way, I think it's whatever works for you, and really whatever works for that particular chart, because sometimes whatever's on the chart may, or however you decide you want to display it, may determine whether or not, you know, batting would be better to use or not. So the other one I wanted to show you is a chart that I did with Stitching with the Sisterlies last year. This is Suffragette, and it's going to fall. Let's see. There we go. Now it's on the magnets. All right, so Suffragette. Last year, 2020, was the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment, or ratification of the 19th Amendment, and gave women the right to vote. So loved having that one. That was by either Little House Needleworks or Country Cottage Needleworks. Can't remember which one. Okay, now I would like to show you the one finished piece that I have since my last Flosstube, and that is Sunflower Inn by Little House Needleworks. This, I've just got it sitting here. It's not, there we go. This is just an easel. I picked this up at clearance at Michael's. It's probably been a year ago, so I'm pretty sure they don't still have it. It's just, it looks like, I would take this off except it's tied on. You know, just like a kitchen paddle board, but it has the little easel part down here, or the, this is what makes it an easel, I guess, that and the back here. So this sits, I guess you can't see all of that, but it all just sits here really nicely. I've had this, I try to pick up, if I find things that I think would make good pieces to use for finishing, I pick those up when I find them. And I did that on this particular piece, this wooden piece, and it's been in a closet for probably a year, like I said. But I thought it worked really well for this particular piece. So you can see sunflower. I used all of the called for classic colorworks on this one. I'm almost positive. I don't think I changed anything on this one at all. I think everything on this was called for. So there we go. My one fully finished piece since my last Flosstube. Now I would like to talk to you about what I've been working on since my last video, my last Flosstube video. So first of all, I have been working, since last year, early last year, I've been working on Anniversaries of the Heart by Blackbird Designs. And I'm now up to the May chart, which is Farmhouse. There we go. This one is going so much faster than the last one did. I'm stitching these all on one piece. I started out using all the called for, and on several of them, and especially the last one, and I'll show you that this is the April chart. This was Pink House, I believe. And I used different greens than the chart called for. The called for was chamomile, I believe. And the chamomile that I've found anywhere is brown. It's kind of a yellowish brown. It's not a deep dark, but it is not green. And on the chart, it was green. And where this is was a lot of the border and some of this border right here, I believe, but especially over here. And chamomile just was too brown, and so I changed that. So once I started changing the colors to match more what was on the cover of the chart, I felt a little bit more comfortable. I mean, there's a thing about Blackbird, and I think a lot of you understand what I'm talking about. I don't like to change Blackbird. I don't like to change Prairie Schooler. So that was hard for me. Just, it was uncomfortable at first. But I'm happy with the way it turned out because it looks so much more like the cover than what the chamomile did. So this was Pink House, which was April. And here is my progress on Farmhouse. And these are all the called for colors. And I'm really not a purple person. I don't really have anything purple in my house. I don't wear purple except for, like I said, I teach at Abilene Christian University. Our colors are purple and white. So when I wear school colors, I wear purple. But other than that, I really don't. This one, the colors are mulberry and old purple paint are the colors that I've used, not in the border, but in the actual design, and the flowers and the birds and the heart and the key. So they don't scream purple, so that's okay. But this one, like I said, is stitching up so much faster. Now, the house is going to take a while. The house, there's quite a bit of stitching in the house. But the little chart itself is not that big. You can see each one of them is not terribly big. But I'm going to be really happy when this one's done. I've started working on the dates that I'm going to go back in and add to these. I am putting from my parents' generation back 2 generations. So my parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, I'm putting all of their information, their birthdays, their anniversaries, etc., are all going on the individual blocks on this chart. So I'm really excited about that. I haven't started adding those yet, but I will soon. The next thing I've been working on is Quaker Christmas 2 by Bygone Stitches. And here's the cover. So much happening in this chart. I have gotten quite a bit done. Several motifs since I saw you last. Let's see. Hope you can see that. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I added the little house, the heart, the outline here, this one, titles, names. So that one's coming along. I'm sticking with my trying to get 1 large or 2 small motifs done every week. And one thing I'm doing, because I was curious as to how much floss this chart was actually going to use. I believe it calls for 24 red and 8 green skeins. I'm not sure, but something along that line. And so far, I've used this many, and these are all cherry cobblers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So far, I'm on my 7th skein of cherry cobbler, and I'm not half finished yet, but I'm far from half finished. So maybe a third finished. So I am using 2 strands. The fabric is 32 count Rit dyed Lugana, and that one was Rit dyed with camel, I believe. It would use far less if I had gone to 36 count and used 1 strand, which I kind of wish I had done, but I'm way too far into it now. No going back on that one. It will be finished on that 32 count. So another WIP that I pulled out this week is one that I started last year, and that is Nevermoor by Lila Studios. It's got a quote from Poe on there. Love it. This is 40 count. It's a 40 count linen that I got from 123 Stitch. Oops, sorry. There we go. You can see I've got part of that zigzag border all the way across. Now I've got to fill in above and below it, and just a little bit down here on the bottom. This color is beautiful. This is Blackboard by Gentle Art, and the bluish green is, what was that one? That one's Lagoon, also by Gentle Art. I can't remember which linen this is. It's a little rougher. I'll put it along the bottom. It's a little rougher than some linens, but it really fit, I thought, this particular design. I find I have to use slightly shorter strands of floss when I'm stitching because it is a little rougher, so it's a little bit harder on the floss. And it's not terrible, but it's got a little bit more. I'm not sure if there's an exact term for it, but it feels a little bit like maybe there are little flecks in the linen that you can feel, and so it's a little bit, I think, harder on the floss. But I'm eager to get the borders done so I can start working on that huge raven. So, last project I wanted to show you is Pumpkins for Sale by Lori Holt. I can't remember if I showed you this one last time. I think I might have. But my little scarecrow is coming along. My crows are finished. There we go, yeah. I'm super, super happy with this one. I'm using some of the called for floss on this, but a lot of it is my own conversion. If you look at the chart, the scarecrow's little plaid shirt is pink and white, and I wanted it to be red and white. So you can kind of tell here, possibly, I stitched the red. The red is 347 DMC. The white is 3866, I believe. Yeah, 3866. So I stitched the white and the red, and then I combined one strand of each of those two colors to do the blending square on, I hope you can see that, doing that combined square, because really that's what a buffalo check like that is. It's a combination of the two colors. So I bought kind of a medium pinkish red that I was going to use. And when I was stitching this last night, it was like, why do that? Just if you really want it to look like a checked shirt, then combine the two flosses, which is what I did. And I'm really happy with the way that turned out. So I'm hoping by the time that I do my next video, I will have this one finished because it is really, really close. Okay, last thing, haul. Some of these I got this week. Some of them I've had for a little while, but I thought I'd go ahead and show you. I'm collecting all of the Prairie Schooler Santas that I don't already have, so I got a couple of those. This is 2006, I believe. Yes, 2006 Prairie Schooler Santa and 2012. So I got those two, and then I showed you my Nevermoor by Lila Studio. I also got her bee sampler. Love it. All of these may all be, are they all garden? They all are sort of garden related. This one is The Potting Shed by Brenda Gervais. Got some bee skeps in there, little garden stuff. My garden is looking pretty good right now, except the tomatoes. I have not had a lot of luck with tomatoes this year, but they are just now starting to ripen. I have one cherry tomato out there that may have 200 tomatoes on it. It is insanely loaded, and I'm planning on this afternoon making some picante sauce. So that's something I love doing. It's my brother's recipe, and it's really, really good. So lots of garden things going on. This is Antique Bee Sampler by Elizabeth's Needlework Designs. This is one, I ordered this one, I believe, from 123 Stitch. I hadn't seen it anywhere. Just really thought that one was fun and shouldn't take too long. There's not a lot of fill-in on that one. And then I ordered Tudor Bee from the Blue Flower, and that one was electronic, and I really want to get that one done and get it out for the fall. But she has some other bees that are also amazing. And I know there's a sale going on right now, a Tudor Bee sale. I probably won't get to it super quick, so I don't know if I'll technically participate with the sale, only because I'll be so far behind. But I got two other charts from her I ordered from 123 Stitch. The first one is Huckleberry Farm. Love this sampler. It's a little different, but I thought it was lots of fun. And then finally I have Harvest Hymn, also by the Blue Flower, which I thought was wonderful. It says, now the year is crowned with blessing. So, fall, garden, sampler. It punches all my buttons, except it doesn't punch the patriotic button, but it punches most of the others. So that's it. That's what I have this week. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate every one of you who come back. I hope that you will comment, that you will like the video, share the video. If there's anything that you saw that I didn't explain well enough, just ask a question, or if you have other questions, ask me those as well. I love being a part of the online stitching and quilting community. I appreciate you watching. I will be back in a couple of weeks with my second Quilty Tube, so I hope that you will watch that. as well. And if you missed my first one, it is on my channel. It was the last one that I posted before this one. It was a couple of weeks ago. So I hope everyone has a great rest of your Sunday. I hope to see you again with quilting in a couple of weeks, and then with stitching in September, about 4 weeks from now, and we'll be right in the heart of Sunflower September. So hope everyone has a great day. We'll see you again soon.